How's Derwin doing back at practice today?
Yeah, Derwin was back at practice today. He's progressing well. Good to get him back out there and hopefully have a good week of practice and see where it goes and be ready to play.
Brandon, understand that J.C. Jackson is away from the team and is on injured reserve. But is there any action that the team takes or is taking regarding this situation?
Yeah, Lindsay, I think we're just still acquiring the facts about what's going on in that particular matter, and when we know more information, we'll get more information to you.
What does Derwin's return do for you guys emotionally, you think?
He's one of the captains of our team, one of the top players in the league, and I certainly think he's one of the faces of our franchise. So it's going to be great to have him back. I thought he really lifted our team while he was away. I thought he did a lot of things behind the scenes to help that group play well, and I thought it was important that we played well without him. I think that's, since he's been playing on this team, I think it's the first time, we've really played at a high level without him out there. And so now to get him back and be able to integrate him into our defense, and it's just going to make us that much stronger. And then his leadership, what he does for his teammates, how he affects his teammates, that will be big as well. And we're going to need all of his experience down the stretch here.
How challenging is it preparing for the Colts, just given kind of how wildly all over the place they are, plus with the quarterback changes in the week?
Yeah, Lindsay, I think you know that the heart of their offense and what they're trying to accomplish. You have enough evidence to see kind of who they are and what they want to be, and then there's enough evidence on the new quarterback and what he's done in his career. He's played in this offense kind of wherever he's been. So you've got a good frame of mind, a good frame of reference to how he's played before. So just take all that into account, and it's still about the players that they have on that team. And they've got a lot of good players on their football team, specifically on offense, and we've got a lot of respect for them. And, we just got to have a good week of practice and be ready for the game.
You talk a lot about the discovery phase, and you mentioned a lot. These last 2 weeks on defense, does it feel like you guys are maybe exiting the discovery phase, and sort of figuring out, okay, these are the things that we like to do that we know we can execute at a high level, and sort of that picture is becoming a little clearer?
I think for a lot of the players that may have been new for us, I think that's probably accurate. There were just a lot of players that were new, playing in new roles. I think up front and in the secondary, we had never seen them play before. We've seen them practice all the time, but being able to see them in games in your system, playing against quality people, I think that's certainly true. That it was a discovery process. I think we have a lot better picture of how to use them now. Now that they've been in games and what their strengths are, and so the picture's changed for us all season, and I think that within every team, you're going through that the whole way. Very few teams are fortunate just to kind of keep their crew together. So you always got to be searching for the best way to use your guys. And I think now just a lot of these guys who are new, we just have a lot better sense of how to use them. And they're playing really good within the framework of our team, playing our style of football. And I think that's what you've seen the last 2 weeks is the style of football we believe in, where we've been able to play it.
They are coming off a historically bad loss. In your coaching experience, how hard, how challenging? It can go either way, I guess. You can rally the team back, or they can lose them after that. How do you, if you had to handle something like that?
Well, they've beaten a lot of quality teams this year. They beat the Chiefs, they beat the Raiders, they beat the Broncos. I think Dallas is playing as well as anybody in the league, and going into the fourth quarter, it's 21-19. And then Minnesota, who just won their division, who's having an outstanding season, they're up 33-0 at halftime. So what this team is capable of doing because they've done it. So they have a lot of quality leadership on their football team. I think, you just take a look at who's out there for them in all three phases of the game. They've got a lot of outstanding leaders on that football team, guys who are proven NFL players, not just as, premium NFL players, but leaders within a football team. And, obviously their head coach, one of the top players, in his generation, and, Hall of Fame type player. So, I think, you just respect everybody that's over there, and you just know that the NFL sometimes, things happen, and every week in the NFL something like that happens. So, we're going to be prepared for their best because, they have a lot of good coaches and players on their football team, and all you have to do is watch the game film and watch them compete every time they play. Their guys play extremely hard, and they've got a lot of good players. So, we're expecting a really tough game on Monday night.
With the way the defense has played the last couple of weeks, what part is it possible, like the belief or anything, that sort of just being able to see the results on the field and carry over from one week to the next?
Yeah, Jeff, I mean, we've had results long before these last two. I mean, it may not be in these, kind of shutdown, lockdown performances, but we've had them. Just haven't had them, back to back all the time. But our guys have seen our way of playing and what it can do. And I think that we've just been able to, as I mentioned, I think get the continuity of the players, playing together. And I think that that's been something that has been missing for us. And I think now that you're seeing these guys play together, you're seeing, them play better together. And so we got to build on that. And, like I said, we've been able to evaluate a lot more guys. And so I think that we're going to hopefully be able to establish the depth that we need down the stretch in order to play our best football. And that's, I think, what I've liked about the last 2 weeks is I think it's probably the best that we've played, all season. There have been a couple performances that I think were similar, but to have them back-to-back against two really quality teams, that's what you're shooting for this time of year.
What's enabled you guys to continue to adjust on the defensive line where you just lost another player?
Yeah, Lindsay, really good group of guys. Number one, we got great coaches up front. Jay Rogers, Johnny Timu, and then Giff Smith, those three guys I think the world of. I think they've done an excellent job all year because up front it's been both inside and outside that we've had to adjust, and I think those coaches have done a really good job of adjusting. And then, kind of the guys leading the way, the leaders, up front, Sebastian and Kyle Khalil kind of keeping everybody together. And then when we onboard these new guys, them teaching the guys and taking it even further. I just think that those guys deserve so much credit for being able to do that. And then, I think we've adjusted our game plans to be able to play to the strength of the group that we have and not ask them to do things that maybe we would ask, some of the other guys that we started the season with. And that's all part of the process. But our guys, the new guys that have stepped in are just really hardworking guys that, play our type of football, and we're going to need them to continue to step up these last, games in the regular season.
Where have you seen Elodie Gilman grow the most this season, and what have you seen out of him specifically over these last couple of weeks when he's been starting?
Yeah, I think Lo just has provided us a lot of energy out there. He's very calm. He's a commander back there. I think guys like playing with him because he has a real command of our defense and then the scouting report. He's a kind of a connector back there. He's an energy guy. He's a captain at Notre Dame. You can kind of see he's got a lot of those leadership characteristics. He's got a lot of the game day energy that you need within a football team. And, he's made plays for us. He's tackled extremely well. He's taken good angles in the deep part of the field when he's been challenged. He's been around the football. And that's what you need when you're an NFL safety. You need to be able to do all those things. And he also allows, us when Derwin's here to play where, Derwin's, very effective, which is all over the place. And having Lowe out there allows us to do it. And I think, with Derwin down the last couple of weeks, I really think a bright spot for our defense is the way him and Nas have played together.
Will it be Derwin and Nas if Derwin's back this week starting there at safety? I know, there was a game where you started Lovey, but is it going to be those two guys?
You're going to see all three of them in the game. Yeah, I think Nas and Lowe have both earned the opportunity to play, and we're going to play all three of them. Derwin obviously, but Lowe and Nas are both playing well for us, and we see them both as starters for us.
What's it mean to have Lowe come in and do what he, more than the last two games, but especially the last two, and then have, Joey out all this time and have guys step in to his spot and create that kind of depth?
Yeah, I think it says a lot about the depth of our team that we have enough guys to be able to do it. And, even like Chris Rump was out for a stretch there, and we were able to, onboard some new guys, and guys stepped up and made plays. And, I think Kyle Van Noy and Khalil have really led the way on the edge for us. And but we've had quality contributions from so many guys, and it's been the same way in the secondary. I think Lowe, what he's been able to do, I think, for our defense is just really give us confidence out there. You know, you get confidence through communication. I think in the secondary, that's where you create confidence is everybody being connected. And, you know, I think Lowe does a great job of that for us. That's something that Derwin just has, makes such a big impact doing, is connecting everybody. Lowe has that same ability. And now that Nas has played for us for 2 years, you know, those guys are playing well together. They have that good chemistry. You know, that's a big part of playing team sports is your chemistry, you know, and I think that the last 2 weeks we've had that. And, you know, we're going to need to continue to build that as we go because, you know, as Lindsay mentioned, hey, Joe G's down. Now we have to have, you know, Chris step up for us and play quality football. But Chris played in the Miami game when Bash was out. He's had to do that before. And that's just, you know, what we got to keep doing. You know, got to keep bringing guys in and get them playing quality football.
It's been 11 games now that Jamari stepped into that left tackle spot. He mentioned taking everything as a learning experience. You know, from when he started to now, how would you assess his game and how he's going?
Yeah, Jamari's been a real bright spot for our team. He's been one of those guys that we're sure glad we drafted. He's got a lot of the makeup that allows you to have a season that we're having right now. You know, when, you know, your all-pro left tackle goes down, you're able to put another rookie in there, you know, who's ready for his opportunity. And he's got outstanding makeup. You know, he played in one of the top programs in all of college football, you know, and, you know, blocking those guys every day in practice and competing against them every single week. You know, we really felt like that was a big reason why you drafted him. He played left tackle in college, so it wasn't as big of a deal from him from a transition standpoint, from a positional standpoint, but you know, he's really tough. He's really smart. And when he says everything's a learning experience, I think that shows you about his makeup because he knows you never have it figured out in the NFL, especially at left tackle in the league. And so he keeps improving. He keeps understanding, okay, who am I blocking? What are we trying to do? What's our plan? And, you know, he's allowed us, you know, to compete. You know, and a lot you see around the league a lot of times if you get cleaned out on the O-line, it's really difficult to compete because of how good these defensive fronts are. So he's been a real bright spot for our football team, and I can't say enough about, you know, how he's played for us this year.
The TV cameras on Sunday picked up an exchange between Drew and Sebastian after a drive late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Fans obviously ran wild with it. But when you look at that, how do you sort of approach that? Do you look at that as like, hey, that's a healthy thing that our guys are showing that kind of passion and care about, you know, these specific, a game like that when you guys are up at the end?
I look at it extremely healthy. I mean, like a really great sign. I know, as the head coach, the disadvantage, I used to be able to go back with them and see that all unfold. Now I can't because I'm watching special teams and offense. But I was made aware of this on the headset, and then be able to see it live, just so excited to see that. Two people that care, and if you kind of knew the backstory, then there's the thing that the fans don't see. They see something and they maybe think it's one thing when it's really not, and that was one of those things that was happening there at that point in time. What you see is probably not what you probably perceived, and that's the other part about playing football. When you see people getting heated, there's always a story behind it. You just need to find what it is. And it's one of those things it brought us closer together. We were able to laugh about it in front of the team. And, you know, I just think, you can't have enough passion, you know, in football. And when you see that on the football field, you got to get the facts first about what happened. But, you know, that particular instance, I'm not saying every instance is this way, but that particular instance was really good for our team. Really good.
What was the backstory?
I'll let the guys tell you. I'll let them tell you. Open locker room, you might as well go ask them and see if they tell you the truth.
Speaking of keeping guys together, I was just curious in your experience of traveling with the football team over a holiday. It's a business trip, but, you know, Christmas is, just passed. Is there anything that you do to kind of bring that football family thing together over the holiday while you're on the road?
Yeah, I think the big thing for everybody is you want to make sure that everybody gets to create the memories with their families, you know, and it's part of our job as professionals. Like, hey, the NFL season's going around Christmas, so every Christmas, every team's going to have to go through that, so you know it's a part of your rhythm and routine. But you want to make sure the best you can that they get that experience with their families, that they can create the memories. with their immediate families, with their friends, by the schedule that you have. And in return, hopefully what you get is that full energy back, because, it's a big part of being, a man, is being able to go experience, life with your people. And so hopefully they can do that. And then, we have a Christmas morning, a full Christmas morning with our families. Then we leave later that day. And hopefully that fills you up so that you can go out and compete in front of the world on Monday night, And so luckily the schedule works out this year, where we can do Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with our families. But, to me, it's really just about them being able to be with their families, all of us, so that you can go compete as good as you can.
This time last year, you guys were obviously heading to Houston, and I know that was like a crazy COVID game. There were 100 guys out of it. But do you address that with the team this week? Like, hey, we were in a position where everything was in front of us last year, and you have to take care of business regardless of what the record is of the opposition. Do you address that specific game with the team this week?
Yeah, Daniel, I'm not going to go back to the past. I don't think that that's an effective strategy, because there's so many guys who weren't even here. I think what's most relevant is what's in front of you, and what's relevant is what's going on with our team, not last season's team, regardless of if it had gone well or not. And so, our focus is really on this group of guys, and, this week of practice, kind of where our team is, and then our opponent. And that's kind of, I think, to me, the recipe as you get towards the end of your season. You have to make it about your team, not anybody else's team or not anybody else's situation. And I think if we put the focus there, then we'll make the improvements we need to make to be as good as we can be.
How do you evaluate a quarterback like Nick Foles, who Harley's played in recent times, and his best years are, in the past several years, Philly or whatever. So how do you look at him?
Yeah, you know what he's capable of. You know what he's done in the league. You know what he's accomplished. Certainly won a Super Bowl, and I know I was in Chicago in 2018 when he was the starting quarterback, and we lost a really tough game to them. We played against them in 2020 when I was with the Rams and he was with Chicago. You just know that he's got a lot of experience. He's made a lot of winning plays, and you have full respect for what he's accomplished in the league. The reason why he's been in the league so long is because he's a quality player, and they obviously feel like he's a good enough player to be starting in this football game. So, I know that I've had a ton of respect for him from afar, and he has, our players' full respect, because many of them have competed against him. And, we just, we're going to need to be at our best, because he's seen a lot of looks, knows that offense inside and out. And, we're going to have to play at a high level on Monday night.
Since camp, you've talked a lot about, Derwin and Khalil and being leaders of that defense. What does it mean to you and to the team to see them named as Pro Bowl starters?
Yeah, I think they're certainly deserving, as are a bunch of our guys. But to me, it's about where our team's going. And I think that they'll tell you the same thing as where our team's going, and that's what our focus is right now. And all the individual stuff will take care of itself as we go.